Well, me and Adam have known each other since we was kids, basically, so we've worked together a few times, and I guess you and Adam met on the street one time, didn't you? Down there,
yeah, we met up through a website called
Soundshed.
Soundshed.com, which is like musicians meeting place, and yeah, so I sort of finally had enough confidence. I thought I wanted to start a band, so I went on there and had an interview. Not an interview, sorry, we're doing an interview.
Yeah.
You had an advert on there, and
Feel my criteria.
yeah, we just got in touch and met, and we sort of had similar ideas musically. I already had some demos sort of done, you know, and they weren't sort of exactly in the vein of what we do, but it was a starting point, which is all we needed, because we sort of had the same motivations. So it went from there.
Yeah, that was a good few years ago, and since then, you know, Tim joined us, what, 18 months ago?
Yeah, a few lineup changes until we settled on proper committed people that wanted to.
And in those 18 months, it's really just picked up and taken off, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so we all sort of gelled together once we got Timmy. It's like the missing sort of link between.
I think it's important once you find someone who's committed. You'll always go through sort of have go band members that are playing because they think it's cool, or you know, like, you know, they're sort of not as committed, or they don't have the same vision as or maybe they're as committed as you, but not to that cause. Maybe they want to go in a different direction. Do you know what I mean? So. You know, we went through a few different members, and I think once you get something that's stable as a band, I think that's probably the hardest part as a band.
Yeah.
If you've all got the same vision and the same drive, then as competent musicians, even if you're not, you know, I think you should be able to get together in a room and create something that's convincing, because it's real, you know?
Yeah.
You're not faking anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a joint effort. And usually Mike will come in with a riff, and we'll just build up from that. It's like the foundations of the song, we'll work around it and layer it up. Like Adam will come in with a vocal line, or Tim will come in with like a little groovy beat, and still sort of work around it. And you just go with the vibe, you know, and sort of, it changes all the time, the song.
Yeah.
You listen to the original core of a song, and it sounds nothing like what it ends up being, you know. Just
I've got loads of like demos at home that we've recorded with a stereo mic, and like it will say Initial, for example. It don't sound nothing like Initial does today, but you know, when you're writing, I mean, eventually you get to a point where you have to settle and go, this is the song that I can't change anymore.
We're at a point as well now where we're all eventually bringing ideas, and we're jamming them out one by one, and then jamming together. And you know, Tim's got an idea what we're going to work on soon. You know, our newest song, not the that we're going to play tonight, is an idea I think stemmed from Paul, and it just our ideas just seem to come and flow together, you know.
Yeah, the problem is if you say, right, let's write a new song, and then everyone looks at me, and it's like, do you know what I mean? And then I go home and write and then bring it in. The problem is very quickly songs will start to sound the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, your songs will start to sound the same because they're all coming from the same point of origin, and you know, obviously I've got a particular style, the same Paul's got. If we all looked at Paul and was like, right, Paul, write a song, bring it to a rehearsal and we'll all play, they're all going to sound similar. So it's nice to keep the way we write songs open. I think it also makes you a better songwriter, doesn't it? And that's the ultimate aim, is to become a good songwriter.
Yeah.
I think it helps as well, because of all our different individual styles, none of it will, Mike comes in with an idea, it's not going to sound like Mike's idea, it's 4.5 minutes long. It's like we all kind of attack it at different angles, and then out comes.
It's like paint by number, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all choose our own colours.
We are paint by number core, aren't we? That's what we are, that's our genre.
I don't know, I think for all of us, we've all, since we was kids, you know, before all our parents have been blasting music into our ears since we was a young age. You know, it doesn't matter what genre it was, we've all sort of been brought from those sort of those origins, really. So sort of just been with us throughout our lives. So.
And the thing is as well as a band, on paper, our influences shouldn't work together, but they do. We have like a few common influences, you know, like early bands from the 70s.
Black
Sabbath, you know,
Genesis, Floyd,
but and the other bands are all into individually. They shouldn't work together, but we all bring something from those bands and those influences to make our sound from Great Height.
So we've all got common interests, which is why it's good, because it, you know, it keeps our music diverse. Because we'll do a song which might sound more like one of Paul's influences, but it still has a common theme, which is what we're all into. Do you know what I mean? So then the next song might be a bit softer, say, and sound a bit more like another band that one of us is into. But the two songs don't sound the same, so it keeps it. I think there's certainly, you know, not everyone obviously is going to like our music, but I do think that there's something for everyone. I think everyone can find at least one part of one song they think really enjoy that.
Cool.
As you can see, it's a nice soundproof area. So, Vanilla Ice. I remember that we. Oh, right, okay, sorry.
Go on.
Mine was it's probably quite cliche, but "What's the Story, Morning Glory" by Oasis. That's the first time I really sat and listened to, and I think it still rubs off on me now, like, as an influence, because, you know, just a poppy. It's always important to get that catchy sort of hook in a song, and I think that's sort of quite important to me. It's something that people always remember. That's one of those albums everyone knows that album and knows the songs back to back, you know, all the lyrics. So I think that's quite an important one for me. So
Cool.
yeah.
For me, it's a bit more difficult. I mean, there's certainly a definite first album I bought. The first album I bought myself was a Different Class by Pulp. And the first album I fell in love with was one of my dad's CDs was knocking about, which was The Best of James Brown. And that was like my first introduction to music. Like, my parents, I know you said that, I mean, for me personally, my parents didn't listen to much music. So everything I discovered myself. So I feel like my musical life has been a constant journey of discovery. I never really knew what I liked. You know, so that's why for me the first album I properly bought was Pulp, and then I sort of evolved. You know, I listened to a lot of hip hop as well. But the first sort of metal albums I bought probably dates back to around 99, 2000, with bands like Slipknot, Korn, and the usual stuff that you're into around that age. Especially then, because it was all starting to come out around then as well. So.
yeah.
I think mine first album was quite random. It was by a rap group called Dog Eat Dog.
Remember them? Yeah.
I don't know, I must have been very young, maybe like 7 or 8.
Did they have a song called Ism?
I have no idea, I don't remember it, I'm quite glad I don't. That was on tape, that was pretty cool.
What's the first album you bought?
Placebo.
That's right. That's a good one.
Yeah, good choice. First album I bought, Jesus. It was probably something like Nirvana. I think it actually was Nirvana, never mind. I heard it smells like Teen Spirit. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Took it to primary school with me, and I was like, what the hell is this? Well, why aren't you listening to whatever's in the charts? So yeah, that was one. I don't know, that's probably one of the first ones. Dance routines to Never Mind, like you wouldn't believe.
For us, I think a big revelation, I mean, I say it like we discovered it, we didn't, but something like Twitter is pretty epic, you know, because... Huh? I mean, Facebook is obviously useful, you know, for very obvious reasons, you know, because it allowed you to promote amongst your friends and new people you met that you could add. However, I find with Facebook, for me, for a band at our level, it's sort of the buck sort of stops with people you physically met.
Yeah.
Because you can't really, so unless you're going on to, I mean, you could technically search other pages and add people from there, but I think Facebook is so involved that if a band tries to add you, and if a band tries to add me, I think twice before clicking accept, and that's as someone who's in a band. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be bombarded with spam. You don't know them or trust them to not do that. Whereas Twitter's a lot less involved. You know, you're restricted to 140 characters. If you want to link to a Facebook event or something, you can do that. You know, and of course with stuff like hashtagging and searches and stuff, then it's a good, when last festival season, for example, I've done a search for hashtags on things like Download Festival, Reading Festival, and just added people that had an interest to what the band, and
it really helped actually.
Surprising amount of people were willing to listen and have come to. I'd say our audience has grown since I did that, and that shocked me because I didn't know if it would.
Awesome.
But also the luck of getting on radio. We've been quite lucky, really. Just doing a few radio slots, a few interviews in magazines, and it's just a lot of it's pure luck.
Had a lot of support from Total Rock Radio as well. They've been really good to us.
That's a Rock Pop magazine as well.
Yeah, Rock Pop. They've given us a lot of help and
Terrorizer.
yeah, a lot of things for us to put on our CV to say, look, these people, they know their stuff. You guys have got this to us, you know, because we're confident in what we do. So.
Oh,
Vuvuzelas.
Well, I love a Monks Ruin gig. It's good, wasn't it?
exactly. Halloween gig we played, which was just
That was fantastic.
all in love with Ruin was just fantastic.
Yeah, that was good. It's our first shows, you know, properly touring, properly signed band, do you know what I mean? At the garage on Saturday night, you know, it was, because I've been that guy in the audience lots of times.
Yeah.
And thinking, God man, what do I have to do to get ahead, to get that support slot? This band is no better than what I think we can do, you know, and to finally get that was a big achievement for us.
That was good, but also just all the little things we did as well. We went on radio with Total Rock. A few articles in magazines, you know, did a few radio interviews. We just had a really good year last year, really productive year, you know, recorded our second EP.
He was Peel as well. The Peel.
Oh, the Peel in Kingston.
We played Peel in Kingston.
Yeah.
It's the first time I'd say we played to an audience that solely appreciates that type of kind of hard, aggressive edge to it.
Passionate
rock
people
music.
that actually like.
Yeah. And it's nice to see the expression on people's faces, and especially your friends, they see they enjoy your music. But at the same time, they also then support you. Whereas when we played at the Peel, there was, I'd say, 9/10 of the people there you didn't even know. You could tell on their faces that this was like a new thing to them. And I don't think I've ever had so many people come up to me afterwards.
Since that one gig as well,
asking about the band.
we had like 4 gigs booked. 2 more for last year, and I think we've got 2 more this year already.
Touchdown.
Supporting decent, well-known rock bands on the circuit, so
Yeah.
getting contacts there has been a godsend for us.
Goals for 2011. I think festivals are kind of our big thing. We're going to record again soon. We're thinking maybe end of March, April, do the next few songs. We're kind of writing at the minute. But I think festivals are really what we're going to get into. And we're in talks right now with a few people about getting involved with some. But it's
hard work when you're not signed.
Yeah.
You've got no one backing you. You have to fight for everything you get because it's sort of on your neck, isn't it? You know, if a label's backing you and they say to someone, look, this band's amazing, they'll put it away, and you don't, it's the label's fault, you know. But if we get a festival start, you know, it's up to us to make sure we make it happen and make it work. So getting it is very difficult, you know. But you've got, you know, in this modern music industry, I think it's the way forward for bands to do stuff themselves.
It's hard to say one in particular. The first time we played the Peel was amazing, like the response we got, and even the one at Lovemont's Ruin last
that
year.
was just because of the sheer epic.
Yeah, we had so many good gigs as well. Even the little ones we done at a place, the one we did at Gaff last August, I think like 3rd or something. The place was absolutely pissing down outside. It was absolutely packed inside, and it was just brilliant. We just like tore it up, and I think each gig's got that little bit different, you know. Cause it's nice to play like we never played here before. It's nice to be different.
Where we gain some sort of achievement, because it seems to make it all worthwhile. There's a lot of bands that knock around the circuit and for years and it's hard to get anything to make happen. So anything where we get, you know, something significant comes of it, sort of it's like a reassurance that you know, keep on plugging away because you can do it.
It's good seeing the big bands, and it's nice, you know, to see them. But sometimes it's good to catch a band. Like we went and saw last year before last, a band called we went and saw Clutch. There's a band called Kylesa supporting them, and they were immense. And actually better than Clutch. No offense, Clutch. But we're going to go see them again in a week's time, you know. And they're not a big band. Even like when we saw Nat Misty, we saw a black metal band at the garage, upstairs the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, great gig.
I mean, Paul went to see.
Wolves.
Went to see. Yeah, who were they supporting? They were supporting some Stoner Supergroup, but there's a band that I'm just completely in love with, a black metal band called Walks in the Throne Room, and they support. It was at the Scala actually. It was just so intense. You know, there was only 3 of them on stage because they literally couldn't afford the flight for their bass player. That's why, you know. So, you know, that's bands are working on shoestrings. You know, it's good to go and see big bands like Flues because you get production value, but I mean, you can't beat the intensity of, you know, serious gig in a small venue where you can literally feel the vibe. You don't have to take it in. You can, you know, you can feel it.